All right, so on the old Wayfarer here, when I bought this thing, this basically 1/4 inch piece of plywood was the mast step. It's pretty well hammered out on one side here. It was just tacked down with 2 wood screws, which honestly I'm going to do again with my new and improved mast step. But I mean, it's at most in shear. It's not ever going to be in tension, so I'm not going to put through bolts in. Mostly because the area provided to drill in is not very large, and I don't have a drill bit long enough for the particular drill I'm going to use to drill the holes. Here is the plastic one I made out of a cutting board, actually. It's a little thicker than the original was, if that's in fact the original. You can see this flat piece was just slopping, or the mast was able to just slop around on it, and it was wearing heavily on one side of it. Where this thing has a shape roughly the size of that mirrors the shape of the mast itself, so the mast will slot into this. It's not perfect. I cut it out by hand, and I probably could have done better, but if it's made it 50 years with this piece of shit, it ought to do better with this thing, holding it a little more squarely or solidly, keeping it from moving back, forth, left, right. So that's the plan today, is I'm gonna mount this to where it goes on the, what do you call that thing? Tabernacle, I guess, or whatever it's called on this, and see if I can get that glued into place, because this has really been the showstopper in moving forward with getting the boat in the water. I need to find a way to hold the mast up, and the way this thing came just wasn't cutting it for me. So that's what we're doing today, is getting this thing in there. The part of my problem in my head anyway is that I just can't, I don't know where the datum is. I don't know where straight up and down is. What, like, everything on the boat is an angle. I can't just say I'm going to put it here in reference to that plane because that's 90 degrees to this. As luck would have, I've put the mast up a couple times and I've found a place where I like this. Is it right? Is it wrong? I'll never know. But again, I'll bet you I'll get another 50 years out of it with this dude compared to this guy. So that's what we're doing right now. I'm gonna drill this thing up and bolt it, or screw it and epoxy it to the boat. All right, so I just marked out, without even measuring, 4 spots I'm gonna put the screw holes, which is 2 more screws than the old one had. I'm gonna pop a number 30 hole in there, basically 1/8 inch, 3 mil, thereabouts, whatever system you're comfortable with. Drill a couple holes in this. I'll countersink them. Actually, before I countersink them, I'll go take it over to the boat and line up, drill through this as a template. You know how it works. So I have the mast step sort of clamped in place. Again, to the best of my ability, it's the right spot. I will be happy if it just works at all, and as luck would have it, no, crap, there goes my air compressor. Of course, a normal drill sort of won't fit in between here to get it drilled. Luckily, my friends at work have these 90-degree drills with the proper size drill bit on it already, so all I got to do, I think I'm just going to do like drill starts through my mast step, and then I'll remove the mast step and put a proper hole in, followed by I'll put the screws in. I'll countersink this thing, and I'll put the screws in wet with epoxy, and maybe put some wax on the screws just in case I ever have to move it. I can always fill in the holes with epoxy, move it around when the time comes. But I'm just going to use wood screws, stainless steel wood screws. But like I said, I think this will be ample given what I know about sailboats, which is nothing. So I've got my epoxy mixed up here. I'm just going to try to spoon some into these holes best I can. And like I said, I'm just going to probably leave the mess. If anything happens to stick to it, great. If it doesn't, I'll always wish it had. Some of these are just not, they're kind of hydraulicing out. It doesn't really want to take it. Kind of a small hole. I think I am just going to leave this good and messy in here. And hope that helps. Hope that it helps to hold it some. It's not exactly a flat anything in there, which means that when I pull this down, it's probably not going to sit that flat either. But that's what we're going to do. We're just going to do it. God hates a coward, all that stuff. Of course, I got fuzzies in there from cleaning it. That's that. Alright, so that's that. I'll butter these up with some epoxy now. Trying not to get epoxy all over the boat and get it in the camera, but with enough resources, I can fix anything. And by resources, I mean time and money. Alright, so let's stick one of these into the hole. Yeah, these uprights are as difficult as I imagined they would have been, which is why, ouch, I brought this tool. Goes in pretty easy. Hopefully they snug up all right. I hope I get a little more squeeze out on this last screw here. It doesn't look like I got much. I got a little though. That feels snug. That's snug. That's snug. And that one's snug. So, I'm just going to call that snug. Clean out the overage a little bit here. There it is. She's bolted down. Feels pretty good. I don't have anything sticking out the bottom. It's reasonably square. It's kind of where I wanted it. So we shall see. Here's a little further back what part of the boat it is. That's I forget what you call it, but it's where the mast goes, and that's the mast step. So we'll see how that holds up. We'll let it dry for a couple hours and come back and stand the mast up.